And that's going.
All right, got it.
Can you point it so you can see this? Could you pull that blind open for me, please? There you go. So I'm going to talk briefly about amphibians, and then I'm going to talk about reptiles.
It's right. Ow.
I'm telling you, it's dying.
How many days has it been?
I just watered it. 4:15. Right that date. Average food 3 times. Average is like yeah, it's kind of shriveled. Yeah. It's starting to bring the water every break. We're gonna take care of this, right? Yes.
Cameron was in Egypt's land.
Sorry. All right, so we studied fish. You should know all there is to know about fish. Then the book talks about amphibians. Amphibians starts on page
834.
834, very nice. Basically, an amphibian is an organism that lives part of the time in the water and part of the time on land. A frog is an amphibian. And as a baby, a frog looks like a fish. It's called a tadpole. And the tadpole swims around in the water and has gills. It's very much like a fish. It has fins and gills. And the tadpole will slowly change as it eats and grows. It'll grow legs, first back legs, and then later front legs. And the tail will disappear. And it'll lose its gills and develop lungs and then crawl out of the water. And so in one lifetime, you can see an amphibian go from a fish-like form to a land-like form. It's very interesting. We call that a metamorphosis, a change from one form to another. Kind of like the butterflies do.
Most amphibians go through the process of metamorphosis. Fertilized eggs hatch into tadpoles, the aquatic stage of most amphibians. Tadpoles possess fins, gills, and a two-chambered heart, as seen in fishes. Young, legless tadpoles live off yolk stored in their bodies. As tadpoles grow, they develop legs. Tadpoles with legs feed on plants in the water. Young frogs have structures needed for life on land, including lungs and a three-chambered heart. As adults, frogs have short, bulbous bodies with no tails.
Then the frogs mate with other frogs in the water, you see. Like fish, they have external fertilization. So what happens is the male frog sits right on top of the female frog in the water, and the female frog squirts her eggs into the water, and the male frog squirts his sperm right on top of the eggs. You may have seen two frogs kind of sitting on top of each other before. You ever seen that? And then the eggs are in the water, you see, and the eggs will hatch and develop into tadpoles. Frog video.
What's it rated?
Probably give this a 2 or 3.
Frogs are carnivorous and possess a sticky tongue attached to the front of the mouth, which they shoot out at great speed to catch their invertebrate prey.
Oh, that was better than that. That was a 5 or 6. I like that. Frogs, adult frogs are carnivores. They eat meat, like flies. And the baby frogs, which are the tadpoles, they eat plant material. So they have a different diet. They aren't competing against one another. Hey, there's some pretty frogs. Frogs all have pretty thin skin. And one of the reasons why they have thin skin, I don't know what this is doing. One of the reasons why they have thin skin is they can take in oxygen through their skin. They not only use their lungs to breathe, but their skin is thin enough to let oxygen through. And so they have two ways to get oxygen. As we see amphibians evolve into reptiles, the skin's going to get thicker and the lungs get bigger so that they aren't able to breathe through their skin. But because their skin is so thin, they can't live very far outside of water because they dry out real easily. If they go to a dry area, the water just goes right through their skin and out, and they'll shrivel up. Yeah.
Why do they need a 3-chambered heart to live on land?
Well, you need more chambers if you're on land because you don't have the buoyancy of the water holding you up and helping you move. When you crawl up onto land, it's all gravity. There's no water helping you. So you got to work harder just to move. And so you'll need more chambers in your heart to pump blood faster to get the oxygen to all those cells to allow movement. So you always see land animals with more heart chambers than water animals. Isn't that interesting? So fish have 2-chambered hearts. Amphibians have 2-chambered hearts as larvae, and 3-chambered hearts as adults. And reptiles and mammals have 3-chambered hearts, and 4-chambered hearts for mammals, and most reptiles have 3-chambered. Some reptiles have 4-chambered. And you know how many chambers birds have? They're real active.
5.
Good guess.
8. 6.
4. They're like the mammals. More frog video. That's some good frog video. Oh, we already saw
Frogs
that.
are carnivorous.
Wow. You got us all excited.
Sorry. This shows the 3-chambered hearts. 2 upper chambers and 1 lower chamber. In 4-chambered hearts, there's 2 lower chambers. Here's another one.
Frogs belong to the order Anura, meaning tailless amphibians. The most obvious feature of an anurin is the adaptation for jumping. The hind limbs and muscles form a lever system that catapults a frog into the air. In springtime, the vocalizations of frogs characterize the mating season, and the females respond by laying large numbers of jelly-coated eggs. Tadpoles hatch in just a few days.
Frogs have special membranes that cover their eyes called nictitating membranes. And it kind of helps protect the eye. They also have a little hearing spot on their head. It's not a hole like our ears have, but it's a little thin membrane called a tympanic membrane, which is like an eardrum. So their head has a little membrane that vibrates so they can hear. Sound is very important to frogs. They use mating calls and such. There you can see the little tympanum. That's the ancestor of our eardrum. But on frogs, it's on the outside. It's not down deep. And there's the eye, and the little membrane that covers the eye is called the nictitating membrane.
Some frogs' eyes protrude from the tops of their heads, an adaptation that enables them to stay submerged in the water with only their eyes above the surface. Vibrations from water or air are picked up by the tympanic membrane and transmitted to the inner ear and then to the brain. A frog's tongue is long, sticky, and fastened to the front of the mouth, which allows them to snare their prey, such as flies, with amazing accuracy. Lungs enable adult amphibians to breathe air. Frogs have vocal cords that are capable of producing a wide range of sounds that males use to attract females and females use to indicate whether or not they are willing to mate. The hind legs of a frog are muscular and allow them to jump.
This shows a frog egg with that's a little tadpole in the middle. And here's a tadpole after it's developed some. At first it eats the yolk that was in the egg. That's what it lives off. Now a little later it's got its arms and legs, but it's still got the tail. The tail's going to disappear. And there's the adult frog. Salamanders and newts are also amphibians.
The common frog returns to water to mate and lay hundreds of eggs. Each egg is covered in jelly, which the tadpole feeds on before hatching after 10 days or so. Over the next 3 months, the plant-eating tadpole grows and changes color, gradually developing back legs and then front legs. Finally, it loses its tail to become a little frog, which moves onto land and grows to reach its adult size.
Wow. It's a big frog. The amphibian populations have been going down recently. And we're not sure why. They're pollution-sensitive organisms. So a lot of water pollution will kill all the larvae, all the eggs and stuff. So that's probably part of the reason. Their habitat is disappearing. There's 3 groups. The anurans, order Anura, are the frogs and toads. Order Caudata are the salamanders and newts. And order Gymnophiona are the Sicilians. Have you ever seen a Sicilian?
Yeah, they're like a little worm.
Yeah, they look like a worm. There's a picture of a Sicilian in your book on the bottom of page 839. Take a look at that.
Blue.
Yep, looks like a purple worm there. Anura, Caudata, and Gymnophiona. They also show a salamander and a newt on top of 839. She turned me into a newt. What movie?
Monty Python.
Nice.
I got you.
Good job.
That's a great one.
It is a good movie. Okay, so that's about it for the amphibians. Amphibian is kind of a transition from water to land. And the next thing we'll study is things that grow on land, the reptiles. And we already have a reptile video, so you can stop filming. Willis out.
It's good.